The first question, can you give us an update on the status of Bowen Island? The construction is completed by approximately about 60%. There's still another 40% to go. And probably by September, it should all be completed. And there's a meditation center in there. On top of that, because we have 10 acres, with 2 acres on the shoreline, we're on the seaside. We're actually close to the water. It's a panoramic view of the ocean. We still have another 8 acres on the hill, on the mountains, more than 100, 200 years trees. It's like a rainforest. So I opened up a road from the seashore up to the mountains. That's really what we call a forest tradition. Usually we say in the southern school of Buddhism, in Burma, in Thailand, they have the forest tradition meditation, and we will have a forest tradition. We don't have too many mosquitoes in Canada, and they have a lot. So that could be the difference. You've been to Taiwan, you've been to Burma, lots of little friends surrounding you looking for food. And they told me that they particularly like Canadian food. So I think maybe the blood is a little different, right? So if you stay in Canada for a longer time, your blood specimen may change. And even if you're a Caucasian or Asians, if you go back to Burma, Thailand, it's a good diet for them. Yeah. So you'll be surrounded by them. On Bowen Island, so we have the 2 houses cabins. So those cabins will be like, we will practice meditation in there, and it's going to be a nice place. It is a nice place. I think it's one of the best places in Bowen Island. On Bowen Island, there's 6,000 deers. No bears, no leopards, no harmful animals, just deers. Okay, so that's the status in Bowen Island. Question is, in the Diamond Sutra, there is a sentence like this: the mind of the past, you cannot obtain it. The mind of the present, you cannot obtain it. The mind of the future, you cannot obtain it. There's nothing to be obtained. Not of the present mind, not of the past mind, and not of the future mind. Why is it like that? The past is already gone. Why are you still agonizing on the past miserable experiences? You had a child abused at childhood by some people. That burn an indelible mark in your subconsciousness, and you hate it. For that reason, you hate these individuals. But it happened a long time ago, under circumstances that have a lot of causes to it. It could be because of the ignorance of certain people. It's also because of your lack of power at that time to protect yourself. There's so many reasons for that to happen. However, that is something of the past. Why do you still bring that memory and agonize on it? It's painful for me. It's unfair. I hate it. It won't happen again. You won't allow it to happen. But the only thing we stupidly do, you allowed it to take hold of your present. You allowed the indelible mark experiences, you allow that to happen again at the present moment. You want to bring your past bad experiences to your present life. I mean, the past experiences, they're gone, and why do you still bring it back? I always heard people argue, you treated me badly before, and why do you do that? And husband and wife, brothers and sisters, relative members, they all brought back old memories that brought them these painful experiences. Why bring them back again? Why bring it back and agonize on it and feel bad about it? Be happy about it. Not be happy of the happening, be happy of what you've got. You don't have that experiences again. Don't bring it back. Don't bring back these bad experiences and react badly to it. It's unfair to you. Let bygone be bygone. Erase it. Now, if you have done something wrong to other people, on the other hand, from the perspective of another person, you've done something wrong to a certain individual, and you feel really bad about it, and you always bring it back and agonize on it. Can you take a more positive approach? Ask for forgiveness. First of all, you repent. You're not going to do the same thing again. And then you say, I'm not going to let that thing happen to other people. I want to be more creative, more progressive, more positive. I want to say my sorry to the person I hurt. And I'm not going to do it again. I'm going to tell others not to do the same thing. Isn't that more constructive? Agonizing on what you have done? So from both perspectives, from the sufferer and the person who induced the suffering, both should forget about the past. How about the future? Why worry about the future? The future has not come. You worry about your death, worry about your sickness, worry about your fate, worry about your financial position, you worry about you have all kinds of worries, and those kind of worries will bring you to a depressive attitude of life. Because you are buried in the ocean of worries, and those worries pull you down. You become depressed because you worry. You agonize on your past, that's a mental affliction. You worry about the future, there's another mental affliction. All the past and the future give you a cocoon that bind you up. You're like a caterpillar who is throwing up silk thread and bind your own body up, and you can't get out. Finally, you will be suffocating. You suffocate yourself to death. So you are like a cocoon. You're like a caterpillar throwing out the thread to bind yourself. So we are talking about some animals are stupid. I think we could be more stupid than other animals. You can prepare for the future. Instead of worrying about it, do some positive actions to prevent it. If you worry about your health, try to be health conscious. Something positive. Try to pay attention to your diet. That's what we're doing here. Lee and Bunny, right? You're not eating soybeans, you're not eating wheat, you're not eating, you are trying to build up good health. You're actively doing something. You don't worry about it, you're actively doing something. Accident conscious, how? Try to be safe in your driving. Safe to yourself and safe to the pedestrians. Avoid drunken driving. Always be alerters. Advise others to be alert. So there are constructive things to do instead of worrying about your future, because the future hasn't come, you cannot obtain the future. You worry about everything. Why don't you do something constructive? Don't worry about it. Just do something about it. But that being said, even though you're constructive, you still have behind your mind, you still worry, because in your subconscious, you always have these seeds of worry. Don't really matter. Even though you be very progressive, you still have to worry, but then you minimize your magnitude. You can't get rid of the worry, because why? You are habituating doing this for many lives. And if the monk tells you not to worry, and then all of a sudden you erase all your worry, impossible. How come I can't erase my worry? I worry about it. How come I can't erase my worry? Of course, because you have been doing the habituation of worrying for thousands of lives, and you, after listening to this Reverend Quan Chung, can move it, then I must be a very powerful man. No, that's not the case. You still have to train yourself to eradicate the worry. So don't worry about it that even if you're positive, you still have to worry, because that's usual. But it's going to be minimized. So don't worry about the future. So we said about don't worry, no past and no future. How about the present? We're living at the present moment. At the present moment, you're healthy, you appreciate it. How many people are healthily coming to a meditation class? How many people have a bad back? How many people are crippled? How many people don't have that mind to meditate? How many people do not find the importance of meditation? How many people would rather spend their time in fooling around, in partying, in talking on the phone for hours, and they don't find time in half an hour meditation? How many people are like that? Millions of people are like that. How many people would like to spend all their time and look in pursuit of materialistic wants and not looking for spiritual betterment of enlightenment? Not many people. Why? Because habitually we'll be looking for material pleasures. So live your present moment. Be happy now, or always appreciate, I can chant, I can walk. I always advise my friends to read Helen Keller's Give Me 3 Days to See. That little prose. You can Google it. Give me 3 days to see. Helen Keller was blind, was deaf, couldn't speak, lost the power of speech, power of listening, and power of sight. Lost everything almost. You're living in a world without sight, without sound, should still survive to be one of the most successful philosophers and writers in North America, beginning of the 19th century. Read that essay. If I could be given an opportunity to see for 3 days, this is what I would do. Day 1, I would visit the museum. Day 2, I would enjoy flowers. And the 3rd day, you know what 3rd day who would like to see? I would see the facial feature of my beloved teacher, who, because of her, I brought back my life. Because it's her tutor that have been accompanying her throughout all her life, trying to educate her. Someone who was able to spend his whole life educating a kid. So read that prose. Then you enjoy the present moment. You are at that present moment that you enjoyed it. That present moment you're looking for spiritual enlightenment. That present moment that you are peacefully meditating with a peace of mind. That present moment that you are listening to a talk about going to heaven, going to the Pure Land after death. That present moment you're talking about morality, about helping, about compassion, and not about partying, killing, eating, all that thing. So you can't get the present. Why? Even the present moment you cannot get. Don't attach to it. You appreciate it, but you don't attach to it. There's no present. At this present moment, every minute is ticking. The sentence I uttered, my previous sentence, became a past. I can't get it back. There's no present because every present became a past. There's no past, no present, no future. Sunyata, emptiness. Nothing is to be obtained. When there's nothing to be obtained, you're slowly on your way to enlightenment because you're beyond phenomenal. You're beyond the phenomenal thinking. You're beyond life and death. You're beyond material. You're beyond past, present, and future. That's where enlightenment is. That's nirvana. There's something more inscrutable. There's something more inconceivable. You have to work towards that. All the questions are answered. One final thing that I would like to introduce to you. The other day I was at the distribution center. Right there we have a corner right behind the door where there are a lot of books that you can actually get them free of charge. And a lot of people put their books in there. A lot of organizations outside, Buddhist organizations, they like to distribute their books and they just put it in the center, in that little corner. And I picked up a book, it's called Dhammapada, which will have a number of copies at the back. And an idea triggers in my mind. Other than meditation, we should learn more about the Buddha's teaching. And the Dhammapada is contained in one section of the Nikaya, the Nikaya Sutra, very important sutra in the Theravada school. In the Chinese language is 南传法句经. And I open up the first 2 pages and I find it's wonderful. And it contains 423 verses of the Buddha's teaching. It is one of the most original one of the most ancient, traced back to the old times of the Buddhist teaching. It contains stories, it contains verses of philosophy followed by stories. I would like to set up a reading, a chanting of sutra session. So in other words, everybody has a Dhammapada book, a sutra in front of them, and we would like to designate people just to read it out loudly. Every time we can do maybe about 6 or 7 verses, followed by stories. And when you read them out, we take it by turn. We tell you before so that you research on the words so that you won't get embarrassed yourself, say you don't know how to read certain words. So you read it out and we listen or even read out the story. It's a very meaningful exercise for you to know more about the Buddhist teaching. Then we spend about an hour on it. It's a one-stop. You come on a Saturday, so if you go out from here, you go into another party, why not spend another hour learning the Dhammapada, learning the verses, and then we read it out. You accumulate all this wisdom, then you're building up your knowledge on the Buddhist teaching. You're reinforcing your mind on the Buddhist teaching. It may be helpful to your families when it comes to the point that you have to explain to them what is Buddhism. Maybe after a few verses, if you like, we can have a little bit of discussion about it. And it's the discussion session, not just listening to me, listening to the verses as originated from the Dhammapada. The Dhammapada is one of the most ancient, one of the most original Buddhist teaching. And we got about 60 copies of them. So we can get 60 people. So we'll give you the Dhammapada, and you can even bring it home, Dhammapada, the 423 verses of the Buddhist teaching. You bring it home, and next time when you come, we say, these are the verses that you have to enunciate. The repercussion is important, you know, not just one-sided for me. Repercussions would generate a lot of wisdom, that not only you learning, but I'm learning too. I know what kind of problems we usually encountered. And when you are used to this kind of repercussions, when you're talking to other people outside, you may be helping them. You could be quoting verses from the Buddhist teaching and help others too.